The conversation continues on Houston's Morning News with Matt Patrick.
KTRH News Time is 6:17. We're glad you're joining us this morning. Also joining us this morning is Fort Hood attorney John Galligan. John, welcome to Houston's Morning News, and thanks for taking the time.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. John, explain to me now the lawsuit that has been filed. As many as 83 people, including relatives of some of those killed and injured by Nidal Hasan in that deadly shooting incident at Fort Hood. We're all very familiar with that. They filed administrative claims demanding $750 million in compensation, correct?
Correct.
And how... Is it Kimberly Munley, the police officer, the civilian police officer that actually shot Hasan and disabled him? Is she the one that's kind of the lead plaintiff in this?
She may be getting the lead publicity, but I haven't seen the actual administrative claims. I mean, I've seen what's been reported in the paper, and I know she's included amongst the claimants. Additionally, the paper reports that various soldiers themselves have been included, and that presents some legal issues because, you know, there's normally a restriction on when active duty soldiers can sue the government or sue the Army.
And there's also the issue of you have civilians that were injured, like Ms. Munley, and also soldiers that were injured or killed. So how do you separate those two out? Is that also going to be a problem?
Like I say, there's a legal doctrine called the Ferries Doctrine, and that generally prohibits active duty soldiers from filing suit under the FTCA. What's going to be interesting about this case, of course, is very politicized. The Army's going to be taking the lead on the administrative claims, as I understand it, but it's clear that the focus of the claimant's position is that this is a case that could have been prevented had the Army and others taken timely steps to perhaps let Major Hasan out of the Army.
Fort Hood attorney John Galligan joining us here this morning. And let me ask you this, Mr. Galligan, how likely is it that any of these claimants will see any money from this? Now, I understand that they are filing this lawsuit against the government because they feel that those in charge should have known, concerned authorities should have known that this Nidal Hasan, the shooter, posed a grave danger to the lives of the soldiers. From everything that I've seen, that in fact is true. But I know how these things work, and many times it doesn't end up the way we would like.
Well, look, I mean, anytime you file a suit against the federal government, and in this case it's lodged under the Federal Tort Claims Act, there's certain restrictions and limitations that apply. So they're going to have to first meet that hurdle. But the simple fact of the matter is, just looking at what their complaint alleges, it seems that what they've done is copied the argument that was made by Senators Lieberman and Collins, that there was a failure on the part of the U.S. Army and other government institutional entities.
Now, did you represent Hasan at one time?
I did, up until the Article 32, and there remains a possibility that I'll be, back on that case. But
do you believe that these claimants have a legitimate lawsuit based upon what you know and the conversations that you may have had with Hasan?
Well, put it this way: I'm not going to disclose anything that was obtained by me in a confidential setting with my former client, but I will say this, that I think the significant issue in the Hasan case, whether we talk about the court-martial or whether you talk about the civil claim, isn't so much what happened in November of 2009, but rather what led up to 2009. I had earlier told people that I believe that had Nidal Hasan died in November of 2009, I am firmly convinced that the public story being put out by the Army would be completely different from that which you're hearing today.
That's very interesting. Interesting.
I mean, all you got to do is look at what the Army's doing to the people that are at Walter Reed or that used to supervise him. I mean, his military records are being reviewed, and I would say almost being rewritten. People who used to supervise them are pending their own adverse administrative actions. I have no doubt that had Major Hasan died, his whole history with the Army and what may have led to this event would be taking on a completely different light than
I'm gonna have you back on, Mr. Galligan, for sure, as this moves forward. And I thank you for your time here this morning. Fort Hood attorney, formerly representing Nidal Hassan, John Galligan, and we will keep our eye on this story for sure. Thank you, sir. Certainly do appreciate your time.